Okay, my beans and rice and quinoa are cooking right now, and they'll probably be ready. It's 4:22 p.m., so about 10 till 5, so I'll have to remember that. And I'm gonna make a video because I feel like I need to make one. I usually don't comment about politics because Jesus told me not to. He said that what's happening right now in politics will have no effect on the future tribulation, and he seems very tribulation focused. My Probably the most important thing for anyone to do politically, if you really want to be on the side of the right, is you need to support me as the American Empress. And you may say, but your name's not on the ballot. Actually, I hear during the November 2016 elections that my name was on the ballot. And I told people that if they voted for Donald Trump, they would be voting for me, actually. So I won the election for Trump. He at that time was held prisoner on Angelina Ballerina's pink spaceship. Yeah, she kidnapped him about 4 days before the election. She was terrible. Actually, you need to get, if you want to be an intelligent voter and know which candidates most support me, you would need to, and that would represent me the best, working as my underling underneath me as American Empress. You would need to read my Bible for Tribulation Saints, and I'm working on the audiobook for that. I said it's going to take a year. It might take longer than a year because I don't want to work so hard on it that I don't make videos to communicate with my followers and that I don't do the Gail commandments. So, you know, usually the average audiobook it takes about 6 weeks to produce an audiobook. And it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. I spend at least an hour reading what's going to end up as a 20-minute finished production. It takes me an hour to read it. And then I usually spend at least 4 hours in editing. I do it all myself. I'm the writer, the producer, so I do the reading, I do all the work, and I have to do this because the Jesuits have attacked my writings from day one. And that's because what I write is probably the books that I'm writing and the audiobooks that I make are probably the most important books around. And I'm not just saying this because I think I'm a better writer than everyone else. It's not so much whether I'm a better writer, it's my subject matter. You see, most of you know, when you get on the news, you're not getting the news. You're getting propaganda. Loree McBride, who's the current leader of the evil Jesuits, controls the Democratic Party about 95%, which means that Tulsi Gabbard doesn't stand a chance in hell of getting the Democratic nomination because Loree McBride hates Tulsi Gabbard, because Loree McBride needs regime change wars to maintain her empire. Loree McBride is one big hypocrite. But Loree McBride, what a lot of people don't understand is Loree McBride not only controls the Dem Party and all of mainstream news and most of the internet, she also has very serious control in the Republican Party. I would say she has about 80% control in the Republican Party. And she's got about 80% control over Donald Trump through his evil wife, Melania Trump, who I strongly suspect is a Loree McBride Jesuit. Now, Melania probably only became a Loree McBride Jesuit because she's jealous of me. And, I have such a big problem with jealous women in my life. Like my sister, Sandra Metcalf, has been jealous of me since 2012 and has been one big problem. And my sister has basically taken my mother from me. But it's partly my mother's fault because my mother's very proud and my sister was always the pet in the family. And my sister basically did whatever my mother said. And when I was a young lady, I was like the rebel. My mother was kind of like an atheist. I wasn't raised in a Christian home. And when I first heard about Jesus, I accepted him because my mother was always telling me what an evil child I was. And I actually partly believed it because she kept drumming it into my head over and over and over. And it got to the point where I believed it so much that I would sit in a classroom and not say a word to anyone because I was afraid that anything I might say would be wrong. And then when I realized that Jesus died for my sins and made a way for me to be justified, I accepted him the first time I heard that he died on the cross for my sins. And Jesus says, I have an open heart. I've basically been targeted since the day I was born. I literally am half King David and about half Catherine the Great. I'm like the reincarnation of those two historical figures. And you might say, wow, if you've got genes like that, you should be a really important politician. Actually, I am. I am the American Empress. But Loree McBride is trying to make it so that my conspiracy law, I've written volumes of law as a world leader, to try to make it so that it's not enforced. And of course, to get everybody to believe that I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, so that Trump actually has tried to enforce my law. But every time he tries, because Melania is so jealous of me because I am so sexy, which is something I actually don't give a flip about. Honest to God. And the marriage list was never my idea. But I have such a problem with jealous women that Melania is so consumed with jealousy over me that she blocks all of Trump's attempts to support any of my legislation. So enforcement's been a real problem for me. I really like Tulsi Gabbard because Tulsi is as passionate as I am about regime change wars. You know who's behind the regime change wars? Loree McBride. She needs to change everybody to get them so she can control them. She uses brain control. She's so evil. She can't get people to come to her of their own free will unless they're wicked like her. So you know how she solves that problem? She kills off the people that she knows won't support her. Like she murdered about 13,000 of my Twitter followers in July 2018. Not a peep from the news about that. That's the real news. You would think if 13,000 people got murdered, that you would hear about it in the news, but no. Oh yeah, but Loree McBride chooses, she says, this is what you can report on, and this is what I want the world to know, because this promotes my agenda. I want everybody to think that I am the legit wife of the real Brent Spiner. There's no such thing as clones. Gail's a paranoid schizophrenic, and anybody who believes that is maybe a little cuckoo. And maybe we need to admit you to the mental ward. That's a good way to get people to shut up about the truth. It doesn't work with me because Jesus has made a way for me to survive, even though she's practically cut off not all of my financial support. But Jesus has weaseled around it. And by doing the Gail commandments, Jesus is taking care of me. But I've noticed that people are not getting the stuff on my Amazon wish list, so I had to order some tofu using my own money, and that made things really tight for me this month. But thank you so much for the seaweed. Oh, that has been a real godsend. I have that all the time. What I'm going to try to do is if I can't get the stuff I need through the Amazon wish list, I'm going to have to try to find cheaper substitutes. So I'm going to try to switch over to maybe like canned bean sprouts and some alternatives to tofu, so I don't have to be so dependent on tofu for my diet. So that'll work. Jesus gives me smart ideas. Anyways, I have a link. I have a list of some cheap, healthy recipes for people that are on a tight budget and need to save money on groceries, because that's where I'm at. And just check the link underneath this video. And I'm going to be voting for Tulsi Gabbard, even if I have to write her in. I do not think she is going to make the Dem nomination. It's going to be some Loree McBride cuck who makes it. Unless a miracle happens between now and the Dem nomination, which I'm not expecting, but then you never know. I'm going to vote my conscience. You say, why aren't you voting for Trump? I was kind of undecided about that. And maybe I should vote for Trump because he actually secretly supports me. But the problem with Trump is when you vote for Trump, you're actually voting for Melania. Because Trump's not running the country. Melania is. And Melania loves regime change wars. I'm not sure why she likes it so much. Maybe it's because she's a master controller and she likes anything that makes her feel like she's in control, you know. And I think she's working with Loree McBride. She's so jealous, she's so consumed with jealousy over me that all she cares about is trying to bring me down. And she needs regime change wars to do that. You might say, I'm not excited. You know, it's so complicated. You guys, if you really want to know what's going on, you need to get on the Gabriel Chana Fox News Channel 00 on cable. You need to follow my posts at my website, gabrielchana.blog. I do blog posts. And, of course, listen to my videos. You need to read Bible for Tribulation Saints. The audiobook will come out. It might take me a year and a half, but I will finish it. I'm going slow. I'm making very good progress on that. I feel like it's so important that I do need to make it into an audiobook so that busy people can listen to it on the go, you know. And I finished the second audiobook and I've submitted it to Audible, so it's going to be out in a couple weeks. I'm working on audiobook number 3. The books that I write is basically the news that you should get that you're not getting. There was a real Nukkake that hit Canada in 2011. Did the news report on it? Only Canadian Fox News reported on it. The Jesuits managed to block it from everybody else. You might say, well, if it really happened, we should see footage of it. The Nukkake was so created that cameras would be destroyed by the Nukkake. So it's hard to get footage of it. The Jesuits are clever. They come up with technology which is not reported on and which is very brilliant. And they're working with Satan and the UFOs using their technology. Clones exist, folks. In fact, we've got a clone epidemic. Just about every man on my marriage list is having problems with his clone right now. The clones have taken over their bank accounts. In fact, from what I know, I don't think my men are still on food stamps. That's partly their fault, though. I mean, they shouldn't have spent $1 billion on that dumb house in Texas. But it's okay. The Lord can, that's the past. I have a feeling they realize they made a mistake, and I hope that they can get some earnings from my Bible for Tribulation Saints. I think they're making like a movie or something out of it, and hopefully that will help them out. But if you want, you might say, well, what should we do about politics? Should we not vote? Vote your conscience. Vote for whoever you think supports me. Right now, the only politicians that I think are worthy of being voted for is either Donald Trump or Tulsi Gabbard. The rest are junk. You see, the rest don't have the courage to do anything worth a flip to fight Loree McBride. Donald Trump is trying, but Melania Trump is formidable. And she's working, I believe, with Loree McBride using some of that UFO technology. And basically, I've made a video about what Melania does to Donald, so I'm voting for Tulsi. But if people want to vote for Trump, I don't have a problem with that. You say, well, Tulsi doesn't seem to think Donald's doing anything right, and she agrees with the impeachment circus. Yeah, I disagree with Tulsi on that. I think she really believes she's doing right on that, but it's okay. She's more consistent than any of the other candidates, so I'm voting for her. So even if I have to write her in, the impeachment stuff, that's all. Like I said, if you want the real news, you need to read my Bible for Tribulation Saints, listen to my videos. Basically, what's going on in the world is it's Loree McBride versus me. And Loree's trying to get people, big wigs, to side with her. In fact, I think she's behind that Bloomberg coming into the Dem race. She's got control of Israel. She's got a bunch of Jew clones under her control. And a lot of Jewish people are following her. So basically, she's destroyed the nation of Israel. She's basically taken. So anything that's happening in Israel right now is probably not good. And I'm half King David. Okay. So you need to, you decide whoever you think supports me, that's who you should vote for. Right now, that'd probably be Tulsi Gabbard and Donald Trump.